Hello and welcome to another episode of Gadgets and Gizmos. My name is Gaurav and coming up on the show.
The wait is over. iPhone 7 and 7 Plus finally make their way into India after 1 month of their global launch.
So it was early last month in September when Apple sent out an invite calling all journalists for an event on September 7th. September 7th is when they revealed the iPhone 7 to the rest of the world, and 1 month later here we are on October 7th where the iPhone 7 has finally reached India. All these people you see standing here in queue are here to buy the iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus. Some are here to just see what the iPhone 7 is all about. And no matter what anyone may say about all these other brands coming in, Apple still seems to be the talk of the town.
The iPhones are available in 3 variants: 32GB, 128GB and 256GB. The iPhone 7 price starts at Rs 60,000 for the 32GB version and goes up to Rs 80,000 for the 256GB version. The bigger iPhone 7 Plus is priced at Rs 72,000 for the 32GB and goes up to Rs 92,000 for the 256GB version.
So this is my 5th iPhone. Actually, I lost my old one, so I am using my husband's one. That's the reason I need to buy, and most importantly, I am Apple addicted now. Can't live without it.
Did you collect money for this? Did you ask parents for it? Have you been earning? Have you sold a kidney? What have you done?
No, I haven't sold any kidney I said to my parents, I want 7 Plus, and they said, okay, we'll get you.
I was expecting it to be priced more than 70, but Apple has done pretty well on the pricing thing.
The iPhone is still one of the best-selling smartphones on the planet, no doubt. But it's not yet exhibiting the same signs of being a runaway success as some of its previous handsets. How will the Indian market respond to the new iPhone? If not time, then numbers will surely tell. Bureau Report, India Today.
So Google has finally launched its very own Pixel smartphone, a phone that is being conceived and designed by the Google in-house team. And with the launch of the Pixel smartphone, Google seems to be ready to take on the iPhone. Can it? Only time will tell. Google finally unveiled the Pixel phones. Phones that the whole world knew about from outside and inside. The phones named Pixel and Pixel XL were announced at a global event in San Francisco. Although they will also be available in India for pre-orders from October 13th, the Pixel and the Pixel XL are Google's first phones. Until now, it has always made and sold phones, including Nexus phones, in partnership with companies like Samsung and HTC. But with the launch of the Pixel phones, Google has finally taken control over the phones it sells in the hope of beating the iPhone in the premium segment. Google says that the Pixel phones are its first phones that have been designed and engineered in-house. 2 phones share identical design, metal and glass body, and has identical hardware as well. The only big difference being that the 2 come in different screen size. Both phones have Qualcomm Snapdragon 821 inside and 8GB of RAM. The internal storage options start from 32GB. The design of the phone is kind of a mixed bag. Both the phones look very similar to the iPhone 6s, which in turn is a result of the fact that they are based on HTC-made 1A9. Android 10.1 that powers the Pixel phones can be said to be the exclusive Google version for Android. Besides the phone, Google also launched the Google Wi-Fi router. The device uses multiple routers to create coverage across the home. Google also unveiled the Chromecast Ultra, which adds support for 4K videos, HDR and Dolby Vision. The Chromecast Ultra looks almost identical to its older brother, but without the Chrome branding. It also adds an Ethernet port for more connectivity options and is touted as being faster than the previous model. Google's new VR platform called Daydream has been launched with the Pixel phones along with a headset called Daydream View. More compatible phones and headsets are expected in the next 7 months, with the goal of turning Daydream into a standard Android VR platform. Google Home was initially announced at Google I/O Developers Conference early this year. Launched as a competitor to Amazon Echo, this is a stylish personal assistant speaker.
Okay, Google, turn on the hall lights.
Turn up the music.
Okay, Google, what's a good substitute for cardamom?
Mix together equal parts cinnamon and nutmeg.
Users can ask Google Home to read the calendar, appointments, and shopping days, work out the fastest route to place, or even to reply to emails or SMS. Interestingly, families can share Google Home Hub. They can work from a single shared calendar or Google Play Music account. Motorola has also launched their Moto Z and Moto Z Play smartphones in India, and there would be mods that would transform the smartphone into a totally new, enhanced and much more capable device. Pretty interesting. Take a look.
Motorola has launched its much hyped Moto Z Play and Moto Mods. Both phones are Moto flagship devices, and the Moto Mods are a collection of interchangeable backs comprising of a 10x zoom camera, a battery powerhouse, a screen projector and a speaker. The new Moto Z, declared by Motorola as the world's thinnest premium smartphone, measures 5.2 mm in thickness. The Moto Z offers a 5.5-inch screen, 64 GB of internal storage, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor and 4 GB of RAM, with a 2600 mAh battery that Motorola claims will give up to 24 hours of battery life. The Moto Z Play, on the other hand, comes with a glass back and aluminium frame with a 16-megapixel rear camera. The phone functions with 3 GB of RAM and houses a 3500 mAh battery, which has been declared as the longest lasting Motorola smartphone battery ever, giving up to 45 hours of battery life, or so the company claims. The battery also supports turbo power charging, allowing you to get up to 8 hours of use in just a 15-minute charge. With modular devices assuming higher relevance in today's gadgets, Motorola has introduced Moto Mods, which magnetically attach themselves to Moto Z smartphones, becoming one with the phone and adding advanced functionality. The JBL Sound Boost mod will enhance your phone's speaker capabilities, while the Moto InstaShare projector turns your Moto Z into a 70-inch movie projector. The power pack is expected to add up to 20 hours of life to your phone, and the Hasselblad True Zoom adds advanced imaging functionality to your phone with 10x optical zoom. The Moto Z and Moto Z Play will be available exclusively on Amazon and Flipkart from October 17th, priced at Rs 39,999 and Rs 24,999 respectively. So many years back, Motorola had set a trend in the budget segment smartphones with their Moto G series, and I think now they're going to do something similar in the premium segment with their Moto Z series, especially with all the mods which they claim are going to be compatible with all the future phones which are going to be launched under the Moto Z series. It's definitely one series which we're going to have to look out for.
Well, wearable devices certainly are becoming popular because they offer you those functionalities that come pretty handy, and also they become sort of a fashion accessory. So luxury brands have to enter this segment, and they have. A couple of them have been launched in India. Take a look.
The Fossil Group has made a grand entry into the growing wearable device market in India. Fossil unveiled a range of connected devices across 6 of its owned and licensed brands, namely Fossil Q, Michael Kors, Skagen, Chaps, Emporio Armani and Misfit. Fossil, along with its family of premium brands, are aiming at the wearable market in India, keeping technology and fashion in mind. The brands are expected to launch their range of smartwatches, hybrid watches as well as fitness trackers.
This is an incredibly important market for us in APAC. It's one of the largest for us, and also I think one of the markets where it's most strategic because people love technology and wearables is on the top of their list. It's going to be a big deal this year.
Misfit has come in with Misfit Shine 2 and Misfit Ray. Targeted essentially at the youth, the design-forward wearables aim to promote a fit and active lifestyle. The wearables support an overwhelming battery life. The company claims that the battery life will last up to 6 months. The design aesthetic is minimalistic and chic. Prices start at Rs 7,495.
You know, we've got some of the most advanced technology in the world for these products. For example, are some of the hybrid smartwatches, the trackers, they last up to 6 months without charging. I mean, it's unbelievable. There aren't that many products that can claim that.
Fossil forays into the wearable domain with the newest smartwatches, Q Wonder and Q Marshall. With touchscreen displays, refined steel case and classic leather straps, Fossil allows users to create various styles based on their moods and occasions. While the Q Wonder has a softer look, the Q Marshall features a rugged case. The collection starts from Rs 21,995. Danish brand Skagen debuted their wearable tech line Skagen Connected. The initial collection will include hybrid smartwatches and an activity tracker. The price of the collection starts at Rs 14,295. Apart from the above, there are also an abundance of wearables offered by the likes of Michael Kors, Chaps and Emporio Armani. But with some studies suggesting that
You know, if I had to charge stuff all the time for a tracker, I would probably forget as well. And I would probably stop using them too, because it's a pain. But when you can go for 6 months at a time and not have to take off your products, take off the tracker, or then I think we're going to see a much different picture.
You remember Nubia, right? They launched the Z9 Mini last year. It was an interesting phone, had a nice camera, but then somewhere it just disappeared. But now they're back with another smartphone called the Nubia Z11 Mini, and it looks pretty interesting, at least from the looks. This one costs only 14,500 rupees, which means it would be competing against the Moto G4 Plus and looking at the specs, also against the Lure 2 and the Redmi Note 3. Last year we reviewed the Nubia Z9 Mini and that had a fantastic camera. What about this one? You're about to find out. As it was the camera quality that still makes us remember the Nubia Z9 Mini. The Nubia Z11 Mini, on the other hand, has a 16 megapixel camera that uses Sony's CMOS sensor with f2.0 aperture. And just like its previous iteration, the Z11 Mini also shines in the camera department. Under daylight, we got really good pictures, the details were intact, the images looked sharp, and the colors were fairly accurate. The camera interface is also good as you get manual mode, slow shutter, time-lapse, panorama mode, and some other handy modes that you can make use of. In low light also, the noise is kept to an acceptable level. The front 8MP camera does a good job for selfies. Sadly, there is no optical image stabilization here, which is a bummer, but I really like the way the phone looks, man. You have glass in the front, bag, and this metal which is holding it together. It's quite sturdy, good to hold, good to feel, good to look, and also the red camera ring, it makes it look all the more attractive. But then you will find people walking up to you and telling you that it looks like the iPhone, but I would say ignore it or take that as a compliment because it looks nice. Z11 Mini, like many other Android phones, is still stuck on Android 5.1 and has its own custom UI on top. And the UI is not at all complicated. You would be able to navigate around easily. Oh, and there is a fingerprint sensor at the back which works just fine. Now let's talk about the performance. The Z11 Mini is powered by a Snapdragon 617 processor along with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage, which is standard combination in this category and should mean a decent performance. Now this phone is not as snappy as say the Lure 2 or the Moto G4 Plus. However, having said that, you can get along doing your daily tasks quite easily without facing much of a problem. Gaming is somewhat disappointing, so I would say restrict yourself to the low graphic intensive games and you should be concentrating on the camera because that's a USP. So with our regular daily usage, we just about made it through the day with a 2800 mAh battery. Do carry your charger along, we say. So you will buy the Nubia Z11 Mini for its great looks, fantastic camera, and the only thing against the phone is the battery life and the performance. Alright, time to see what's making news in the world of technology in our Tech News segment. Nike has launched an online draw that will give away 89 pairs of its self-lacing shoes that adapts to the foot. Nike mags were first envisioned nearly 30 years ago and made famous on the silver screen by Hollywood actor Michael J. Fox in the futuristic movie Back to the Future Part 2 way back in 1989.
Power laces, all right.
The self-lacing shoes feature responsive power laces which tighten and conform to the foot. There are 3 buttons on the inside, colored red, yellow and green, which let you adjust the tightness of the laces. They're also used to light up the LEDs across the midsole, the area that displays how much battery is left on your shoe. Nike is only giving away 89 pairs of the Nike mags on draw, which is in support of the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. South Korean giant Samsung's ongoing battle with its own baby, the Galaxy Note 7, seemed to be far from over. The explosive phone has been in the news ever since it was launched in August this year for its exploding batteries. After growing complaints from users and security warnings issued by civil aviation ministries across the world banning the use of Note 7 on flights, Samsung initiated a global recall of the damaged phones. Close to 2.5 million phones were recalled globally. While Samsung said most of the fire-prone Galaxy Note 7s have been recovered in major markets and turbulent times would soon end for the tech giant. Now reports are cropped up that even a replacement model began smoking inside a US plane earlier this week, prompting fresh investigations by safety regulators. Alright, so that's all we have for you in this edition of Gadgets and Gizmos. We hope you enjoyed watching it, and yes, you can always follow us on Twitter, and we'll be back next week with more of Gadgets and Gizmos.